5-star, top 10 player in the country, number 1 player in the state of Arizona. Koa Pete commits to the Arizona Wildcats this morning on the Pat McAfee Show over Arizona State, Baylor, Houston, Texas, and we got our guy Saul Bookman here, as well as Kevin Thomas. I'm Damon Fairall, and we are talking Koa Pete's commitment to the Arizona Wildcats. Saul, you've kind of been boots on the ground following the program now for a couple weeks. What are you kind of hearing behind the scenes when it comes to Koa Pete and you know what's gone on with his recruitment?
I mean, listen, just like a lot of fans, everybody was really hoping that this was going to happen. Everybody was really pushing or pulling the rope in the same direction in terms of what they needed to do to really get this to happen. And I think some of these small parts happened months in advance of his commitment. And while Arizona had made some moves and gotten traction with Koa, obviously, over the course of the last 4 years, especially since Tommy's come aboard. It has very much been apparent that the relationships, especially when you're talking about LeBron and Clutch and Bryce James' commitment, this is the reason why when Bryce James committed, we talked about like how much of an influence that could possibly have. And when Arizona is faced with the limited NIL revenue that they have to be creative in the way that they approach these things. And honestly, a little bit of luck needs to be involved. And so that's basically what I've been hearing behind the scenes is like, okay, well, that's a factor, not the factor. TJ Benson did a great job in recruiting and staying in touch with Koa Pete for sure. But ultimately, at the end of the day, what did Koa Pete find comfortable about Arizona was the biggest thing. And I think first, he gets to stay in the state. He gets to play with some really, really good players at the University of Arizona. Tommy Lloyd's development, in really taking prospects to another level. Just take a look at Carter Bryant from where he was at the beginning of the season to now. And all of that leads you to believe that you're in great hands and ready to go to the next level when you're ready to go. And Arizona's going to provide that opportunity. In addition to what's going on behind the scenes, with his agent, obviously Clutch Sports. Everybody knows who they are, represented by, LeBron and his team. So I think it's a win-win overall. And so like last night, I was out to dinner with some friends, and I got the heads up on, most likely this is the play unless something came out of nowhere in the last minute. This was what was going to happen, and very excited about it.
Well, yeah, Saul, like we were talking about, you alluded to it there in your answer, that this kind of indicates that Koa Pete is a winner, right? We already suspected that 4 straight time state champion, 3-time Gatorade Player of the Year. It kind of indicates where his head is at as well. What does this commitment mean kind of for the university, in your opinion as well, Saul?
I mean, it means no matter how much you try to disrespect the University of Arizona basketball program, we are still going to bear down, and we're still going to be the preeminent basketball program in the West. It doesn't matter how much you try to take it down. ESPN tried to take them down. The FBI tried to take them down, and it didn't work. It didn't work. And you know why it didn't work? Is because everybody loves the University of Arizona, whether they want to admit it or not. Even the people up at ASU, what are they saying right now? They're saying, oh, well, at least he's staying in state. Brother, you never had a chance. You never had a chance. He wasn't going to ASU. Nobody that is a Phoenix prospect, that is a high-level basketball player, would go to ASU. And that's not disrespectful to the Sun Devils. It's just they don't have a program that has stood the test of time. They are going to need that one person that is able to overcome. Arizona was lucky enough to have Lute Olson. He was that one guy to help kind of change the narrative about the University of Arizona, right? And then you add in Sean Elliott and Steve Kerr, and then the legend begins. And that's the way it needs to be. And ASU just has not found itself in that position. And it's cute that they thought they had a chance, but at the end of the day, Koa Pete is a winner. He wants to win championships, and you're not going to do that at ASU. You're going to do that at the University of Arizona.
So sticking at that ASU portion there, Saul, a lot of people were talking about, obviously his desire to stay close to home and be near family. And a lot of people thought that this one really did come down to Arizona or Arizona State. What have you heard regarding that? Do you think, I've heard maybe some Houston was involved late as well. Just kind of speak to that, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, listen, ASU was a player. They had a seat at the table, and the biggest reason why they had a seat at the table was because they are right there in Tempe. Less than a 30-minute drive to get to from where Koa Peat is to the arena. Koa Peat literally is like 1 mile away from me at Perry High School, and it's funny because think about this: if Koa Peat was going to South Point, if Koa Pete was at, CDO or any other school in Tucson, right? He couldn't walk around and not have people come up to him all the time asking him if he's going to commit to U of A and all this other stuff, right?
Yeah.
But up here in Phoenix, it's different. It's just different. Like it's not the same level up here. It just isn't. It's not all about basketball. It's not all about, we live and breathe Arizona Wildcats basketball. It's just different up here. So that's the reason why they had a seat at the table. But at the end of the day, it did come down to Arizona and Houston, because Houston is obviously the best program right now in terms of where they're at in the tournament and what they've been really doing the last 5 to 10 years since Kelvin Sampson took over. So they were right there up there with Arizona as one of the better programs in the country, and they definitely were in the running. But it ultimately came down to it's Arizona, it's in state, and that helped them out.
Houston is nightmare fuel for me. Koa Pete at Houston. I mean, that scares the hell out of me. I don't even know how to begin to approach that, but thankfully we're not living in that reality.
Especially when you add into the fact that Koa Pete is now the 7th McDonald's All-American joining the Big 12 next season. And if you're Arizona, if you didn't go out and grab one of those, that is a problem. And it also adds to the massive length and physicality thing that Tommy Lloyd is trying to bring to the Big 12, because you got to have some heavy hitters to hang in that conference. And Koa Pete can hang in the Big 12. So huge commitment for Arizona. Saul, what else are you hearing on your side of things, and what else should we touch on today?
Well, listen, Koa Pete is just one more weapon in the arsenal. He's going to be a vital weapon in that arsenal. But I think, obviously with every freshman, you don't know how they're going to translate to the college game, and it might take a little bit of time to develop. So I wouldn't expect Koa Pete to come out and set the world on fire right off the bat. Temper your expectations in terms of its development. Just know that by the time we get to this point next year, we will have one of the best teams in the country, if not the best team in the country. I would be surprised if Arizona isn't a top 5, if not top 3 ranked team coming into next year, especially if they can land Burries. And Burries is another one that if they are able to get Burries, those two specifically, I know Aristode is in the conversation as well, but those two specifically, that helps you mitigate the loss of Trey Townsend and Caleb Love. It helps you mitigate the loss of any potential other transfers that might be happening. And it helps you advance the narrative of Arizona being one of the preeminent basketball programs in the country. They still are. They haven't left. They haven't dropped off. And the question marks about Tommy's recruiting can quiet down a little bit, because the biggest knock against him was just his preps recruiting, high school prep recruiting and the lack thereof. And now he's gotten back-to-back years with McDonald's All-Americans, maybe even plural this year. Yep. And Tommy's on track to do exactly what he needs to do, and he can bolster the lineup with 1 or 2 transfers instead of like 4 or 5 transfers. And I think Arizona is going to be in a fantastic position. Listen, if you want to win a national championship, if you want to get to the Final Four, it's hard to not look at Arizona and think that's a great opportunity for a program that, assuming we don't know what's going to happen this year, but, let's just take this year out of it, hasn't been to the Final Four since 2001. So you can be part of that renewed trajectory of one of the legacy programs in the West.
I think you're looking at now with Koa Pete in the fold, that front court looking pretty full. The back court, still a little bit more to get there with Braden Burries in the mix, and probably a backup point guard, I think, in the offseason as well. But gearing up to be a massive day for Arizona Wildcats fans, Arizona basketball fans all over the country. Our guy Saul Bookman is in Newark, New Jersey. Beautiful Newark, New Jersey.
The gem of the East.
Yep, the gem of the East, the Garden State. Nice and green out there, Saul. And he will have all of your post-game coverage. He'll be joining us for our post-game show live 10, 15 minutes after final buzzer.
going to go around. If you are seeing this today and you're in the Newark, New Jersey area and you're going to the game, hit me up on Twitter. My DMs are always open. Instagram, whatever you want to do, because I'm going to go around and I'm going to talk to people and find out how excited they are about Coa Pete. Because this is a big day. It's a big day. This is a day we've been looking forward to because, listen, in-state prospects typically don't leave Arizona and prosper. Very few do, and the big time ones usually stay in state. It's because Arizona owns Arizona. Like that's just what it is. And I'm so listen. I was there in Phoenix with Richard Jefferson, Mike Bibby when they committed to Arizona, and I got to see them play up front. Played against them a couple times. You just knew that there was never a conversation about ASU with Phoenix, with high level Phoenix talent. Like if you were projected to be a one and done, you're not going to ASU. You just aren't. And I'm not trying to be disrespectful of that program. It's just what it is. Yeah. It is facts. It's 1,000,000% facts. Like, and so, and listen, one more thing on Coa Pete. Mike Bibby, Richard Jefferson, Channing Frye, like the list goes on and on, Jared Bayless, like the list goes on and on, right? None of them won 4 straight state championships. None of them were 3-time Gatorade Players of the Year. Coa Pete is in an absolute league of his own. Physically, one of the more impressive dudes you could possibly ever see in a high school game because his broad shoulders are ridiculous. Like the guy, the kid is a man already, and he's only going to get stronger and better as we move forward. The future is definitely bright for that kid, but also Arizona got themselves, to me, one of the best prospects in the country, and he's definitely going to help raise all ships with his single tide.
Saul, I think that this recruitment reminds me a lot of like the Aaron Gordon commitment, just in terms of how massive it was and kind of when it happened in Sean Miller's tenure compared to when it happened in Tommy Lloyd's tenure. Feels like this is kind of like the jump onto not that Tommy wasn't landing big time recruits already, but the true jump to the national stage when it comes to Tommy landing, the biggest fish in the ocean here that we have. He's our guy, Saul Bookman. You can follow him at Saul_Bookman on Twitter. Follow Kevin at Kevo, post KEVOPOSTS. You can follow me at Damon Dog. That's DAWG. We are the AZ Wildcats podcast. Like I said, we will be live for a pregame, for a postgame of Duke, Arizona. Make sure you guys do not miss it. Subscribe to the channel, turn those notifications on, and like this video. Thank you guys so much. And we will catch you next time on the AZ Wildcats podcast. But until then, peace out, bear down,
and go Cats.